Hello and welcome to the Scottish Football Show. It's the Euros. Oh yes. Steve Clarke's Tartan Army are on their way to Germany. But who will start on Friday? 100,000 fans are flying the flag across the continent, and we hear from some of the best stories. But what will we face over there? We have experts from Hungary, Switzerland and Germany all on the show. Guten Morgen, Guten Tag, Guten Abend, wherever you are listening. The most anticipated summer has arrived. Euro 2024 is on our doorstep, and we're the ones who are knocking. Yes, Steve Clarke has brought us back to the big time because he's a very good manager. We can't wait. But first, mein Fräulein to my right or left, don't know where it will be on YouTube, is none other than TNT senior producer, but more importantly, the most passionate Tartan Army super soldier, not foot soldier, Laura Brannan, and host of the Scottish Football Forum podcast, author and writer at the famous Tartan Army magazine, Herr John Blaesdale. How are we, folks?
Really excited.
Did my intro excite you, Laura? Was that good?
Yeah.
Was that good enough for you?
It's like a team talk.
Yeah, really good. Put this in Steve Clarke's dressing room and that'll get the boys motivated.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't put me in the dressing room. That would be a laughing stock. I don't need that on my shoulders. But Laura, how are you feeling? First of all, like just briefly before we get into the meat and bones of this pod.
I think this is the best time actually because it's just pure excitement and chaos, and I've got lists coming out of my ears of what I need to pack, what I need to wash, what I need to buy, and what I want to read up on as well. I've got like the 442 magazine, the World Soccer magazine, and the Nutmeg magazine, and I just want to get through it all and listen to all the different podcasts that are out there and stuff. And this is definitely the best week. Just be soaking it all up before we go out there and probably break our hearts. It's the build up that's the best part.
Yes, exactly. And this is the best podcast that people should be listening to as well, Laura. But
Joint
John,
best.
I noticed you didn't get the memo for wearing the Scotland tops. Where's your Scotland top, pal?
No, it didn't come. Is it going in the junk folder? I don't know, but yeah, all my Scotland tops are packed already. You know, I'm ultra prepared in that way. I've still got a few things to put in, mind you, but the tops had to get in first, so I'm keeping them for Germany.
That's very organised. I'm going to be packing like the morning I'm going.
You probably both know that I'm not going to Germany, which sucks balls. But I am going to America. And I have to say, John, I'm very glad that I will be taking this with me. And I'll need to, I don't know if it will work with a blur, but it's your book, mate. Oh, it's not working. Let me take the blur off. And if I take the blur off, look. That's class, mate. Thank you so much. I'm going to read it and I'm going to give you some feedback. But it's going to be a great travel because I'm going to America to cover Copa America.
No, thank you very much for buying it, Andrew. Yeah, it's going well, and the launch day was terrific with Chick Young presenting and the Brown family being there. We've had some good media feedback as well. The Herald did something, the Sun did something, and of course I was on Off the Ball on Saturday with Tam Cowan and Stuart Cosgrove, trying not to make an arse of myself, and it seemed to go all right. So yeah, I was happy. I'm happy with the coverage so far.
Yeah,
I'm glad people are buying.
It's yeah, we're going to Wembley, Scotland's Euro '96 journey. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Here's Armstrong. Do Scotland have something else up their sleeve here? McTominay. If Dykes can get the flick on here, it's John McGinn. It's Dykes. It's McGinn. This is quite sensational. Scotland have picked their moment to strike. Unbelievable scenes at the Ullaval. They all came to see Holland, but it's Scotland who are putting on a show in the final minutes in Oslo.
Let's talk about the last week as we prepare to get into, well, obviously we're playing Germany on Friday. And we're recording this on Sunday morning. So, Laura, what are your reflections on the last week? Because we played Gibraltar and we played Finland. who I kind of feel were teams that we were supposed to absolutely blow away as a big kind of send off. What was your thoughts?
I'm not going to get too overly stressed about the results, the actual score lines themselves. The run out was important for both of them because players that hadn't played much recently all got game time. They got minutes in their legs. Steve Clarke tried out different shapes as well, different formation against Gibraltar, and then a kind of more realistic team against Finland. I think anyone who just looks at the score on paper probably doesn't get the full story of the Finland game, especially the last 20 minutes, which was very unfortunate for Craig Gordon, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But had that not happened, it would have been quite a satisfying night to walk away from Hampden a 2-0 win. So the scoreline doesn't give the full picture. And I think it ticked all the boxes. Everyone got the game time they needed. Some of the boys got rested, which was quite pleasing. Scott McTominay being one. I hope it's not a secret injury that he's monitoring, but it was good to see him not get game time and not worry us. So overall, quite a satisfying kind of week. I think the only kind of downside was the Lyndon Dykes injury news that came out and having to deal with that over the past week, because that was horrible. Really, really heartbreaking for someone.
Is that another death in the family type feeling you've got, Laura? You always take them so badly.
Yeah, I took the Scott McTominay fake news very badly a few weeks back. This was also quite tough. I think because he played such a big part in getting us there, especially in the Norway game. If it wasn't for his goal and assist, we'd probably be there. For someone who's such a big part of the squad and personality as well, he's clearly a character in the group of boys. Really sad to just see him bow out the way he did. It doesn't deserve it, so that's horrible. Good to see him say that he's going to be going though.
Yeah, he is there.
As a coach or whatever, he wants to take on. But it's good that he's not going to be there. But it's a really a freak injury. It happened in training. He said he got his studs caught in the grass, and it's an ankle ligament he's done. And I mean, how many times does that actually happen? And the timing of it as well. It's just so unfortunate for him.
John, do you kind of echo Laura's thoughts on the last week in the two friendlies?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Scotland and friendlies historically do not go well together. I think we've sat 3 at the last 21 that we've won. It's not a great record. However, in the last 21 competitive games, we've won 16. So that's the kind of form I'm looking at. And you try things in these games that you probably won't do in the Euros. Like, do you think at 2-0 up against Germany or Switzerland or Hungary, we're going to take off Billy Gilmore for an unfit Ryan Jack? We're probably not. Are we going to, take off Andy Robertson for Greg Taylor? No, I don't think so, unless there's an injury. So you have to try these things. And yeah, I'm gutted about Lyndon Dykes. That's the big game. I mean, I did an interview with him for the Tartan Army magazine, which came out Monday, 2 days after he was ruled out. So talk about unfortunate timing. By the way, I didn't break him. just to clarify that, I didn't break him on Zoom.
A verbal injury.
Yeah, trust me, I wouldn't have wanted to do that to him. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's good that he's going, because that tends to happen sometimes. Because remember, Gary McAllister went over to France in '98 as a kind of ambassador, because he missed obviously through an injury, but he was still part of the squads, for morale and things like that. And I think Dykes will be great for morale from that point of view, and hopefully can pass on some good advice to young Conway, who will be absolutely buzzing at his opportunity.
That's a good point. I mean, Lewis Morgan and Tommy Conway come in, Laura. Interesting, because Ben Doak obviously had to pull out of the Scotland squad as well, which... So, well, it's one of those things that I think I was really excited to kind of see what Ben Doak might have been able to do. I don't know if he would have got much game time, but at the same time, Tommy Conway is still quite an interest. He's had an excellent 2 seasons for Bristol City so far. I just wonder how many Ryan Gold what was it that one time you described it, Laura, the Gold hype train that's been going through the years, but Lewis Morgan has been called up. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they were really playing in the same position this season. So I think they're very easy to clump together because they both play in America right now. Well, if I'm Gold doesn't even play in America right now, he plays in Canada, but you know what I mean. They're both in MLS.
But the MLS,
it's very easy. Just go. They're over there. They're both doing really well. They're both they're scoring goals, they're getting assists. They are very attractive attacking players in that league. But Lewis Morgan has been playing more of a number 9 this season. So if he has been playing more of an out-and-out striker, that's quite interesting, because I don't think Gold has been playing as far up as that. So, yeah, I was surprised to see Lewis Morgan in the squad, but fair enough. And Conway did interest me, as, like, I'm not going to lie, I've not watched many Bristol City games this season. I don't know a lot about him. Obviously saw him score against West Ham in the FA Cup, which was obviously a shock, and got a few people talking. If he came on, he did very well. He should have scored in stoppage time. I don't think I'm being that harsh saying that. I think Steve Clark said that as well. But like, he's got good coaches there to bring him up to speed. And if Dykes is going to be around as well, the impact that hopefully he'll have, maybe he can be a sort of kind of light for light replacement for him. I don't know, but I've got high hopes.
Yeah, high hopes indeed. Just looking at Lewis Morgan though, 9 goals and 16 appearances for this season, sort of thing. But yeah, I think Tommy Conway should be getting more of a look ahead of him, if I'm honest. I really liked his first touch, and I think he was unlucky. It's his debut at the end of the day. We can't be absolutely slamming him for that. There was a really cool stat that came out as well from Ayr United. I don't know if you saw, but Ayr United tweeted that Lauren Shanklin's goal against Finland was the first ever goal that a former Ayr United player had scored against a former Ayr United goalkeeper at international level. So I'm not going to pronounce the Finnish goalkeeper's name. Where's Antiniemi? That's easier to say. But yeah, he was a second half goalkeeper for Finland. Viljami Sinasalo. There you go.
Don't remember playing for Ayr. A good stat.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Right, shall we get a little bit of a reflection? Should we get more misery from you, Laura? Because the whole Craig Gordon farewell is a real sad one. In fact, no, John, you sum it up, really, because I'm going to spare Laura here. The fact that Craig Gordon came on, and which was, he knew he wasn't going to Germany at this point as well. That's the one thing that we learned, that John Suter and Craig Gordon were spoken to the day before the Finland game. So Craig Gordon comes on, and it's a horror ending, let's face it, conceding 2 goals and giving away a penalty. But just sum up Gordon's career, really, as a Scotland player. He's been tremendous. I mean, it's funny when he put the Instagram post up, and from his debut against Trinidad and Tobago, the shirt was a size too big for him. It did look as though
3 sizes too big.
Yeah, just a bit. But yeah, he's been a tremendous goalkeeper for years. I think particularly the Euro 2008 qualifying campaign, you know, had some big moments in that campaign, but then he rolled back the years during the tail end of the World Cup qualifying for Qatar that we also didn't make. Had some big saves in that campaign, and obviously the Nations League. And the fact, I mean, you got to remember he was out for 2 years at one point, and he battled back from that. I mean, to get himself in the position, and then having that horror leg break again. You know, he's fought so hard to get back. It was cruel, but I get there's no sentiment in football, and he's only played 8 games. What I will say is, did we bring him on too early? Should we have just waited to 10 minutes to go and bring him on and let him have his farewell at that point? Because he looked rusty, and obviously, you know, it's not his fault for the first goal. It's a good header. You know, the defence don't cover themselves in glory, but yeah, the second one, I know there's people saying he gets a touch on the wall, but I think it's a penalty, and it was just unfortunate the way it bowed out. But yeah, he can be proud of his career. It's just a shame that it came out the night before, not the way Steve Clark wanted it to. But you know how these things get out. Yeah, these things happen in football, and no matter what, he's still the oldest Scotland cap now, and he'll go down in history for that. Nobody will remember his final game, or maybe they will. He will.
It's so
yeah,
sad.
an absolute. I know, but legendary servant, and that's all that will be focused on.
It's bad because he's been a constant in the last 2 decades of all our journeys, all our emotional journeys of torture as Scotland fans. He's always just been one of the positives, been there the whole time. He's been one of the kind of the key players, I think between him and James McFadden, are kind of two I feel as though have been so hard done by in their Scotland careers to not have got to a tournament and being part of the good days like this. So it's sad that he's not going to be there. But there's football and we need to look to the future, and it's just so unfortunate he's not that sharp. I genuinely think we'll see him again. I don't think he's retiring. Like, I don't think this is the end. I genuinely think he'll play again for Hearts next season, and I don't think this is the last time we'll see him in the Scotland setup. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came back, but it's just very sad to him. It's all kind of panned out ahead of the summer. But justified Liam Kelly's involvement, I think.
You just had to sneak that one in, didn't you, Laura? Oh, insufferable. But yes, well done to Liam Kelly.
In steps Tierney, does well. He'll be chased down by Carvajal, but he's got some engine on him. Kieran Tierney, he timed that perfectly. Now, can he pick out the killer pass? There's McTominay! Oh, what a hit from Scott McTominay! Listen to this place! Hampden Park is rocking once again! This is turning into a very special night!
Look, with Scotland's game on the horizon, Laura, you caught up with an old pal of mine, Archie Rhind-Tutt, who has been covering the Bundesliga for donkeys now in Germany. He's also been covering the international scene in Germany for the last 8 years. But here's what he had to say with Laura about the hosts.
Archie, thank you so much for joining us. So what has the mood been like in Germany? Obviously, build up to this one. I mean, it's so different asking something from a Germany perspective because they're hosting it, but what is the mood like going into this one?
So the evolution of the mood around the German national team going into a tournament, I'd say before they won the World Cup in 2014 and for a few tournaments after that, there was always this panic and things not going well, major injuries hitting and being somewhat ragged going into the squad. And yet there was always this word that was used, which is Turniermannschaft, which is we're a tournament team, everything will come good. And usually it would come pretty good because Germany would reach at least the semi-finals. And then you've had what's happened since 2018, where it has been a string of disappointments and things have also not looked great before the tournament. So Germany are now in a weird position where they're actually quite confident and are in a good place going into the tournament after everybody being pretty worried. I say everybody, it's not a uniform everybody gets behind the national team here. There is, I think, more of a split and fractions between club football fans and international fans and how that works. But the people who are interested in the national team are, I think, getting quietly optimistic about how this tournament could go. And the friendly against Ukraine was one of the most impressive 0-0 performances I've seen from a team in a pre-tournament friendly to carry the intensity and fluidity that Germany did going forward against a team like Ukraine who can play but chose to sit very deep and soak up a lot of pressure. There were great signs for them with the way that Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz, the two creative heartbeats of this team, from Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen, respectively, two of the youngest members of the squad, but the ones who bring the flair. And the way that they were looking alongside the whole unit, sure, Ukraine had chances and Manuel Neuer was called upon, but he did his job. So I can understand now why there is this renewed optimism since Julian Nagelsmann did his big changes in the winter.
Yeah, it was a case of, like, there was an air of optimism when Scotland drew Germany because they didn't have the best 2023 in terms of results. And then it was the March window, obviously the win against France, win against Netherlands, and everyone went, oh, they've found their feet again. Should we be scared? Are they back to the good Germany again?
Scared's a word, but I would be less optimistic of a result if I was a Scotland fan right now. I would say that if you played the game 10 times against Germany, your chances of winning it, I think, will be 2 out of 10 right now.
Take it.
Because of which is also just the nature of the way that underdogs against favourites can work sometimes. But there will be chances on the break. Germany and Julian Nagelsmann, it's been a problem for Germany for a while, and Julian Nagelsmann has brought a bit more vim about the way that they attack. That wasn't there before, I think. That they were creating chances, but it was a pretty turgid watch. And now that he has shored things up a bit at the back, and they are playing with maybe slightly less risk than they were, but the risks are still there. The Ukraine friendly showed that. The game against the Netherlands as well, Netherlands did not play well, and yet they still had a couple of really good chances. And I think it's going to be appreciating that fact from a Scotland point of view of being like, it's not about how well we play, how easy on the eye we are. It's about how effective we are, because that is the one point where Germany are maybe lacking a bit. They did have loads of chances against Ukraine. A lot of half chances, maybe, because of the margins that they had to hit, and they couldn't take them. But the way that Nagelsmann has reshaped the squad, kicking out some very experienced professionals like Leon Goretzka, who has been there for years, having been a part of the Bayern squad, and there's no space for him in midfield. Bringing back Toni Kroos was a risk. Letting go of Mats Hummels, I think, has been proven to be a good decision no matter what happens, because of the noises that he's made in the media before a Champions League final and showing that he puts himself ahead of the team. That's exactly the kind of thing they don't want. And that they have this new, fresher mentality with a good block of Stuttgart players who were one of the surprise teams in the Bundesliga. I say the surprise. There was a team that went unbeaten domestically the whole season in Bayer Leverkusen. But you've got 2 players from them, for example, in Andrich, Robert Andrich and Jonathan Tah, who, unlike Florian Wirtz, you wouldn't have picked them to be starters at this tournament for Germany before the season began. And I think that is something that is sparking optimism about how Germany might do. To come back to your original question, a little scared.
Again now for Armstrong, and he put it through to Adams. Shea Adams is onto it. It's Adams! Hampden Park is home, sweet home. Scotland hitting heights here with a pulsating performance.
Hello dear listeners and viewers from Melbourne. Sorry I can't be with you on this very special preview show, but don't take that as me not being excited. I am buzzing for the Euros to start. In fact, so buzzing that we're coming back over to Europe for it. Sadly won't make it all the way to Germany, but I will be in the motherland for part of it and in London for a little bit of it. So no matter where I am, I will be putting myself front and centre of a TV, either with my family at home or in a pub somewhere, having a beer and celebrating watching Scotland smash through the group stage for the first time ever and get through and all the way to the final, probably, let's be honest, with Super John McGinn's butt and Scott McTominay's predatory instincts in front of goal taking us all the way to the final and Euros glory. Can't wait. If you're going to Germany, you're very lucky. Enjoy every moment. If you're going to be in Scotland, enjoy it as well. It's going to be one hell of a summer, one hell of a party. Enjoy every single moment of it. You deserve it.
Hello everybody at the Scottish Football Show, how you doing? Andy Lane here from Alba Mater. Hope you're all well. I am heading out with the family So that's my wife and my 3 girls who are all football daft. We are heading to Essen, that's our base, and it was all because of when you had Derek Ray on and he was saying to go for the wee towns in between, so that's what we did. I'm going to the opening game, so I'll be getting a train down with my brother and a few close pals. We've been going to games together for a long time now, so that's going to be really special, going to the opening game with them. And then my 2 eldest, we are going to go to the Switzerland game, so really looking forward to it. Can't wait, man. Roll on the Scotia in the Germania, yeah.
Hi, Andy Barge here. I host the Hampden podcast and work as a football commentator. I'm going out to Germany next week with a bunch of my closest mates and family members. Can't wait. And we're there for the entire group stage. I've got tickets for the Switzerland and Hungary matches. We'll be in Munich for the fan zone, which I'm very excited for as well. So I've actually just watched a video of Robbie Keane scoring against Germany for Ireland in the 2002 World Cup, and it's just given me that wee bit more belief, you know, a last minute equaliser against them is possible. Can't wait for the journey out with my closest mates and have a great 2 weeks away supporting Scotland.
I can't believe this time has come. Scotland in the Euros in Germany. This time it's a proper tournament. It's not like the last Euros. There was all over the place during COVID times. This time we're all going over. 200,000 Scots expected to be going over, so I can't wait to be part of it. I'm going to be going just shortly after the Germany game, going over for what's going to turn out to be a 9-day stag do. Just can't wait for it. We'll be there for the Switzerland game and also staying for the Hungary game as well. Just absolutely fucking buzzing for it. Come on, Scotland.
Countdown to the Euros is very much on. I'm going to be in Germany when the tournament gets underway. Unfortunately not in Munich for the game against the hosts. I'm going to be in Cologne for my stag do instead. Provided that I get out of that in one piece, I'm actually coming home, not sticking around for any games, but very much looking forward to it. Come on, Scotland.
Not long to go now until we all depart to Germany. I am lucky enough to have a golden ticket for the game against Hungary in Stuttgart, match day 3. And let's be honest, we're all dreaming that is the game that takes us to the knockout stage of a major finals for the first time ever. 150 years we've been at this international football game. That could be the moment of history. Come on, the Scots, let's do it.
Here we go, this is the one we've been waiting for. I'm bringing France 98 vibes with this shirt because I know we qualified for the last Euros, but that didn't count. That wasn't a real tournament. This is the one we've been waiting for. A real tournament in a real country, a good country with good beer, Germany. I'll be heading out to Munich, and then I'll be heading to Cologne, and then I will be heading to, where are we playing next? Stuttgart, and then I'll be following us into the last 16. I'll basically be following John McGinn's buttocks around the German countryside for the full month, no matter where they take us. And I can feel it, team, that this is going to be our tournament. Wales had their tournament in 2016. They don't even like football. That is a country of sheep. So this is going to be our tournament. We're going all the way. I can sense it. Come on, boys, this is the one.
So good to see all the contributors that we've had on the episodes over the last 2 years, and seeing what they're getting up to, which is a great reminder to, it's a big kick up my arse, really, because I'm not going to be there. But I am going to be in America, just scouting and scoping out all the stadiums when we go to the World Cup. You know what I mean, guys? Yeah. So, we've heard from everyone else, but what are you guys doing? Laura, I'll start with you. Are you going with family, friends, and where are you staying?
Yep. We're going to, so it's my boyfriend, my mum, and my dad, going over, the 4 of us, and we're going to Munich for 2 nights, and then we're actually staying in Frankfurt for the rest of the time. So 10 nights, I think it works out at 10 or 12 nights altogether.
Stop right there. Are you going to have a Frankfurter in Frankfurt?
Teasing me.
Yes. But
oh, come on, you can't eat.
I'm not going to call it that, because that's just disrespectful.
What are you going to call it then?
A bratwurst and a curry. I love a currywurst. Oh,
yeah,
my
I do
God.
love currywurst. Sorry, Laura. I love food.
If I thought a currywurst today, I'm doing Germany being wrong. Yeah. So yeah, staying in Frankfurt. We're actually going to go to Cologne the night before the game. We booked Frankfurt before the draw, and decided just to keep it because it is around the kind of general area. Can get trains to everywhere and not miss out on anything. But I have noticed a lot are staying in Cologne, and didn't want to kind of feel like we didn't miss out around the Switzerland games. So instead of making it a very chaotic match, they were going the night before to soak it up on match day -1. So yeah, out for the 2 weeks and hopefully back again for the knockouts, but we'll cross that bridge when we come.
What games are you going to?
I've got tickets for all 3. And my parents did as well. I got my mum and dad tickets for Christmas, did it all the down low. We didn't realise I was sorting it for them. And it's really kind of special for me because I've been going to home games with my mum and dad since the very start. So 2001 was my first Scotland home game. So over 20 years now, it's been the 3 of us at every game together. And it was when we qualified, I was like, well, I'm going to make sure I get them there to Germany to share with them. So yeah, it's quite nice.
Oh, that's awesome, Laura. That's really, really special. What about you, John? What? I know you've packed already, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's like that's 90%,
90% fact, I would say. I've still just got a couple of things started. Yeah, so like Laura, I booked flights before the draw was made, and I went with Cologne because my thought process is similar. There was a high chance we were going to be based in the West for at least 1 or 2 of the games, and as luck behold, Game 2 is in Cologne, so I'm travelling myself. I'm meeting friends out there as well. One of my former work colleagues, I've got tickets next to him for the 3 games, which is good. And Laura, if you're going to Cologne on that Saturday night, there's a few of us going to the Tartan Specials gig. It's Tartan Specials, PG Charletta and Tam Coyle DJ. I think there's still tickets available, so we're going to that, which is going to be just tremendous. And we're trying to get some content out there too.
Match party.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's so good. So are you flying to Heathrow or London, then going out to Germany, or is you?
I'm Glasgow to Stansted, then Stansted, Cologne. So I fly out Thursday morning, and I get to Cologne early evening because of the way the flights work. And then I'm getting the train down from Cologne to Munich the next day. And I'll be staying in Munich that night. But the rest of the time we're staying in Cologne. Even for the Stuttgart game, I'm getting a very early morning train. So that's either preempting post-match celebrations or commiserations.
I'm going to get a train back to Frankfurt after the Stuttgart game, and I don't think it gets into like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's a long journey back if we're out by that point, but it'll be a party train if we're qualifying.
That's what I'm thinking.
I honestly believe, and I know, I think even if we're out, I still think it's going to be a great time. I don't think any of us would be really like down and out about it and raging. Laura might, but
if we go out, I'm going to be heartbroken.
Yeah, that's why I said you would be devastated.
I'm in it to win it.
Yeah, I know you are, Laura. I know you are. But listen, it's nice hearing about your journeys and how simple they are. John, you spoke to the lad that's walking there, didn't you? What was his name again, and what's he doing?
Yeah, so Craig Ferguson, I spoke to him on another podcast a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I spoke to Craig about his journey. So he walked from Hampden and he's heading over to Munich. Now people say, "Oh, you're cheating because you're not walking across water." Well, you can't walk across water, so I'm sure he walked in the ferry a good few times to make up for it. But yeah, he's he started the walk. He's raised £35,000 last I saw for men's mental health charity.
Wow.
Brothers in Arms, that was the name of it. And yeah, he was hoping to get a ticket, and he's landed one through some paid sponsorship. He put that on his Instagram yesterday. So well done, Craig, getting your ticket, and good luck with the rest of your journey.
Is he on his own, or has he got someone walking with him?
No, he's on his own.
That sounds boring. How is he passing the ticket? He's going to a lot of podcasts.
Because he's listening to your podcast, probably. That'll help him.
Laura, give the guy a break, man.
I mean, it's great what he's doing for charity.
35 grand for charity, and you go, that's so boring.
But I'm putting myself into that situation going, I would be phoning everyone. You'd be like sick of me phoning you going, Andrew, I'm bored again, going to just talk to me. Pass the time.
What is it Steve Clark says? Negative Norman. I think that's what you're being to Craig right now.
No, what he is doing is very good. And it's very nice to hear the different wild stories and fantastic what he's doing for charity. Don't get me wrong. But the actual activity itself, I would be bored out of my mind.
all the
I've got it.
wonderful sights you're going to see on the way. It's an
If
experience.
he was doing it with people, then yeah, if you're doing it with people, that's on your own. Bloody hell, fair play to the guy.
I'm sure there are people that are, cheering him on and stuff like that. Just like, yeah. No, he'll have followers that are keeping his spirits high. Don't worry, Laura. It's fine. It's
There
not
must be
boring
a
at
lot.
all.
There must be a lot of good stories today. I mean, there's a couple of 100,000 Scottish fans going over, which is mental. I really hope it is that number or more. I mean, to think that it's a little bit, 10,000 got the tickets to the supporters club. Obviously, people got lucky in the UEFA ballots as well. But when you're talking about like a tenth of that number actually going to the games, the fans on the pubs, it's going to be amazing. Excited.
It's going to be class. Well, we love a party. It's as simple as that. And that's what it's going to be over there in Germany.
Armstrong still having a look. It slightly favours the right footer here, but Griffiths, having got the goal, goes again. Oh! It's astonishing. It's Lee Griffiths. 2 goals, 2 fabulous free kicks. Catch him if you can. Catch Scotland if you can.
In our little next preview of the teams that we're going to face, I do wonder what problems Switzerland are going to cause for us. So Laura, in your little Euro tour of your own, which isn't boring, I'm sure. You've been a busy bee actually this week. You spoke to a Swiss football expert, Craig King, who has a very friendly accent. Here's what he had to say with the matchup.
Craig, thanks for joining us here to talk all about Switzerland. What's the kind of mood like around the country just now? What's the sort of kind of expectations, and is the excitement starting to build the same way as around for us?
Probably not like it has been the last kind of 5 tournaments, because Switzerland have been ultra consistent for so long. Since 2014, they've qualified for every major tournament. They've got out the group stage at every major tournament. And going into every tournament, there's always been confidence that this group of players can go and achieve at least getting out of the group again. And then in 2020, they went one better. They got to the quarterfinals. So there's always been a good feeling about the team. But then this qualifying campaign really hasn't been anywhere near the levels that have been expected or been shown in the past. Consider some of the qualifying groups they've had in the past, where they had teams like Italy, France, Denmark, all in the groups, and the qualifying did really well, had some unbeaten group stages qualifying in there. They then had a group that contained some really kind of weaker teams in comparison to those. There weren't really a big heavyweight in there. And there was also teams like Israel from Pot 2, who are not a bad team, but considering some of the options they could have faced, they got off quite lucky. So it's probably the easiest group they've had so far, and they really made such a mess of it. They started well and then just started conceding a lot of late goals. I think 5 games they conceded after 80th minute to draw the game, and they only won 2 of the last 8, which was both against Andorra. So it kind of shows that the level of performance really wasn't there, and they only really qualified because the group was so weak. So there's a lot of uncertainty about the team, to be honest. And with only friendlies since the qualifying ended and at the tournament beginning, it's hard to really gauge where the team's at. They beat Ireland away from home in that last friendly, but again, there's not really a lot you can take from that. And it's just kind of a bit of wait and see. You don't know what team's going to turn up when the first ball's kicked.
Let's not talk about the friendlies since the qualifiers, because we've not exactly got anything to shout about ourselves when it comes to that. What about then the squad announcement then? What was there any surprises in the list that got named?
Well, it's mostly a kind of extended squad. That's not the right word, but like it's not the finalised squad. So there's some players in there that might get looked in, and players that play for teams like Lozère and in Belgium, like Andy Zakiri, who's had a really good season, but he's not necessarily a guaranteed starter in that team. But apart from that, the core group's really been the same as it's been since 2014, with guys like Shaqiri and Xhaka, Soma, all those guys. And there's some new ones coming through, like Zeki Hamden, who had a really great season last year with Basel in the Conference League. He was fantastic in the knockout stages. He more or less single-handedly dragged them to the semi-final, and he got moved to the Premier League off the back of that. So he's one that a lot of people really hope will be the kind of striker that Switzerland have missed for many years and not really had an out-and-out striker. You've got Shaqiri there, who I mentioned, who's always been fantastic for Switzerland. If he ever gets injured before the tournament or for any game, really, it's a real worry, because I looked at some of his stats the other day, and I think it's something like 25% of the goals that Switzerland have scored, 259 goals since his debut in 2010. He's been involved in 25%, so it just shows how kind of important he is. And there's also Renato Stefan, who plays for Lugano. He's in his 30s now, and he's kind of he's been in and around the team, but he's almost really kind of reignited his international career in the last couple of years, and especially this season where he's playing for a Lugano side that isn't necessarily well known outside of Switzerland. They finished second this season, and he got 13 assists and 6 goals for them out wide. So he's one that as well can be a kind of creative outlet that Switzerland maybe haven't had for a while as well. So he's definitely one to watch.
What about any of the players? Is any of them kind of cross paths with our boys? Have they got any like kind of history at different clubs with them? Will they know of any of them very well?
The only two that really spring to mind are probably Albion Yeti, played for Celtic very briefly for a season, and then Cedric Eaton, who played for Rangers around the same time. But both of those players joined just the pandemic season pretty much, and then they left maybe half a season later, and so it didn't really work out for them in Scotland. But yeah, they might know some players that, but then I don't think Yeti certainly won't be near the squad. And Cedric Eaton's one that has been playing well, but again, I'm not sure if he'll make the finalised squad. So there isn't really a lot of instances, I don't think, where players will know each other too well, which might be a good or bad thing. Who knows?
What about then success? What's to the fans? What is success for Switzerland this year?
I think the main objective is always getting out of the group. I think if it doesn't really matter who's in there, it has to be the aim, considering what they've done in the last 5 tournaments. The only worry is kind of that the group maybe peaked at Euro 2020 when they beat France. That was the first time they got beyond the last 16 since 1958, which was a home tournament. So that was a really big step, but kind of feels like that might have been as far as this group will go, because you mentioned Shaqiri. He's in his 30s now. There's a lot of other players. Xhaka's in his 30s. So all these guys that have been around and have that experience, but you know, it feels like there's going to be a transition period, and it might be at this tournament. So that's definitely the worry. But the team's still good enough at this point to get out of the group. So I think it would be disappointing if they don't. I think first and foremost, there'll be a kind of expectation on just the improved performances. If they go out and play as badly as they have been and get eliminated easily, then the reaction obviously won't be good. But this is a hard group, and I think that's recognised. I think everybody will be thinking they can take points off of everyone. So if they go and play at their best and it just doesn't happen, then that's a different story. But definitely expect them to get out of the group at least.
McFadden drags it down now. Long way out. Wow, what a goal! What a goal! What a goal by McFadden! Magic from James McFadden! He's a genius again for Scotland! They've been suckered in the Parc des Princes! James McFadden from 40 yards into the roof of the net! Picking out Landreau! France 0! Scotland 1!
Right, well, Friday. I don't know why I'm actually nervous now. We started this podcast all happy and stuff. And now I'm thinking, who's going to start on Friday to give us the best possible chance of winning the game? And before I go in and say who should start, I'm going to caveat that I would take a draw. Okay? I would take a draw on Friday. John, do you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely take a draw, but I don't want to go in there with that attitude. We go and try and win the game first. I hate the draw will do mentality. It cost us in 2016 under Gordon Strachan.
Totally, of course.
Dublin 2015 still irks me that we got back level in terms and then retreated to play for a draw, and it came back to bite us in the arse. So none of this draw will do nonsense. But
that's
I would
fair.
take a point.
That's fine. I'm not the manager, John.
You can get different types of draws, though. I mean, like a last-minute equaliser's amazing, but if you got one like the England to each game, it's heartbreaking. So if we're winning the majority of the game, and I'm absolutely not taking a draw, but if we are completely back to the wall, and yeah, I would obviously take a draw right now, but that's not the mentality going into it.
I'm gonna go with you, John, first to kind of tell me who you think will be starting on Friday against Germany. Put your Steve Clark hat on, please, and tell us who will be the team to win as the game.
Right, I'm certain that 10 of these picks will come out. The one that I think's up for debate is who's right centre back in that back three. Because I don't think Hendry covered himself in glory the other day. So I think Angus Gunn obviously starts in goal. That's nailed on. Tierney will be left centre back. I think he'll persist with Hanley in the centre, and I think he might go with Porteous for this game. I certainly would. Ralston I think's nailed on for right wing back, and I think Robertson left wing back. I think the four midfield he will go with Gilmore, McGregor, McTominay and McGinn. I know there's people call for Ryan Christie, and I like Ryan Christie as a player, but I think for this game he might just use him as an impact player, and I think Christie could start one of the other two games, and I think Shea Adams gets the nod up front. Despite Shankland scoring the other day, I think Adams has been kept in cotton wool, which is why he didn't come on the other night.
Very interesting. What formation was that then?
So that's his 5-4-1, I think it is.
Yeah. A base kind of 5-4-1.
McTominay and McGinn have been the ones that break further.
Go on then, Laura. Give us your Steve Clark impression.
Impression?
Negative, Norman.
That would be great.
I agree mostly with all of that. I think Ralston did quite well actually against Finland. In an ideal world, I don't think I'd had Ralston or McCrory anywhere near the squad, but all things considered, it's a bit harsh. We didn't really see much of McCrory against Gibraltar because they didn't challenge us in any way. So slightly, I would have preferred to have had a bigger opposition for the first friendly to really test them. Ralston, I think, I can go with him. I agree with Hendry. He has made me nervous in the last few matches. He was doing well maybe a year or two ago, and just recent games have been not entirely sure. I don't know if I'm maybe scarred from the whole Spain match in Seville, him rolling off the goal by his positioning. But anyway, I would go Porteous. Hanley definitely over McKenna. And Tierney and Robertson pick themselves. Midfield, McGregor, Gilmore, McTominay, McGinn. I would go with Shankland up front. I think his performance against Finland, he needed that goal so much. I know he equalised against Georgia, so it's not his first goal, but he needed one just now around this kind of setup, and that will have hopefully done him the world of good in terms of confidence. He got the man of the match award as well. I don't think that was really necessary, but I hope it would another boost for his confidence. I would go with Shankland. My wild card though is if I was manager, and I would say if all things are going well around the kind of hour mark or just after that, I would take Shankland off, put Christie on. I can see Andrew's face here because he knows what I'm going to say. I put Christie on for Shankland, and I would push McTominay up front.
Why?
Because McTominay up front is our secret weapon for this tournament.
And how is he the secret weapon, Laura?
I think the way that McTominay plays, the further forward he goes, the better we are. The better he is. He is done. If he plays an attacking midfield role, he gets goals. He was going for fun in the qualifiers, and I think the sort of build that he is, he could be the replacement for Dykes in the sense of holding up the ball and playing it in for someone like Christie or McGinn to run in and slot home. And I am going to die on that hill.
What is it with people this weekend in wanting McTominay to play a different position? Because Dan Jackson and off the ball thinks he should play right wing back because of his experience.
Oh my God. Because I was listening to you, John, and I didn't actually catch who the player was that was on with you. And I was going, who is this that thinks he should play it right wing?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah,
but McTominay plays better in a more attacking role when he's got a more freedom to go out there and attack. We know he does.
Aye, but not as an attacker, Laura. That you are right. He's better in a forward role, but not as the number one role up front.
I'm not asking him to be I'm not asking him to be like the out and out goal scorer.
No, I know exactly what you're asking. You're asking him to be a battering ram up front.
Yes, and Look, to be fair, in the
That's not who he
qualifiers,
is.
but in the qualifiers, he played just behind that, essentially the number 10 position.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you then can play
So
in
just
front.
push up that
doesn't
little
mean
bit more.
automatically if you can play behind,
Aye, just
you
that
can
one.
then play the number 9 role.
Just talk a wee bit more.
It's a different.
Get a little bit more.
It's a different role asking them to play up front. I think we need to stop experimenting with Scott McTominay in other positions, right? I think
I know,
he's
poor guy,
he's
man.
now found his position in that midfield role. We can just bomb forward, ghost in, get his goals, leave. That's where he should be playing. Don't mess about with him. What's next? In goal in case Angus Gunn gets injured.
That is wonderful, wonderful voice of reason there, John. Wonderful voice of reason.
If we're still kind of hanging the balance for an hour, and I'm going to bring Twisty on for Shankland. That essentially makes it no strikers. I don't want to go down the Craig Levein route, but then we've got McTominay, McGinn, and Christie.
But you did.
Who actually plays up front? Technically, there you've got 3 in the forward line. And they'll end up just rotating anyway in that in terms of who's the most further forward. I just think if McTominay is the most further forward, that is our secret weapon.
I think you're just going. I think you're falling foul of finding the next biggest guy who scored lots of goals for Scotland, and you've thought that's the reason to put him up front, rather than his best abilities of being in midfield and winning the ball and bringing players in, rather than us pumping, because you're effectively asking us to just pump the ball long, which is not how Scotland play at all.
No, I don't want to go back to those days.
Down the sides. Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
I don't think.
Look, if it's one of those, we might as well have taken Craig Gordon and just stuck him up front in the last 5 minutes as probably the tallest player that we've got.
Yeah, you all laugh now. You remember the Israel game when he went up top and scored the winner in the last minute
from a set piece?
Aye, but still,
yeah.
Just y'all laugh
scored
now.
against Denmark. Are you going to put him up front?
Poor John Suter. We haven't even mentioned him being left out.
Even my boys laugh in the background.
Yeah, you all laugh now. Just you wait. At least I'm not saying put my right wing back. Okay, that's even worse. That decision.
So as much as we kind of vary from Laura's kind of team lineup, my 11 was very similar, and I think we're all unsure about the back line. I just don't think we know who are. I'm not convinced by Hanley, which upsets me as a fellow Dumfries boy. But the thing is, I thought as much as Hendry wasn't so great in his position against Finland, I don't think Hanley was particularly great either. And I think he severely lacks the pace for international football at the top level. I think McKenna is the same, but McKenna is surprisingly pacey. This is the thing. It's just other things that lets him down. But we haven't seen him properly for such a long time. I personally wouldn't mind seeing Porteous and Hendry together. I think they're good passers of the ball, and I think they are good footballers. It's just, what are these types of matches going to be like against us? Against Germany, we're not going to have the ball a lot, and there's going to be a lot of pressure. So if we're going to be playing a low block where it's going to be really tight, we're not going to be leaving lots of gaps and spaces. So do you need Jack and Porteous there? Maybe that makes more sense for Hendry and McKenna as two massive fridge freezers at the back. They're just going to knock the ball and knock lumps out of everyone.
To be fair, we've only really disagreed. The only difference in our teams, John, were the striker. Where you said Adams and I said Shankland. That's the only real difference. The midfield, though, is...
I would have went with Shea as well, just to be the bearer of bad news.
I thought you were going to say Conway to ruffle up.
I'm slightly concerned that because he didn't feature in either of the friendlies and he has been injured recently, that it implies he's not actually made it back yet. Because I would have thought he needed the game time because of his injury, which makes me think that
I think you're right.
Ready.
I went for Shea, John, just to say purely because I think that would be my preferred centre forward. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right, Laura. I think Shankland will start because of what you've just said. I think you're right. I think that's the most likely starting centre forward, Shankland. And the thing is, Shankland is very, he's so underrated that he could really grow at this tournament. This could be a big turning point for Shankland, because even when he came on and missed that absolute sitter against, was it the Netherlands?
Oh,
and that was kind of like his big chance And a lot of Scotland fans, I felt like, oh no, like this might dip his form or whatever, but he's been so good domestically. I think he is our best natural finisher. And I do think he's our most cleverest centre forward. So in terms of receiving the ball and finding cute little passes and interchanges of play, I just think he lacks pace up front, and we lack pace at the back. But if we're going to launch it to someone, Shankland probably is the best option, Laura. But I think it's going to be really, really tight on Friday.
Also, how good is our midfield when you look at it on paper like that? It's such a set.
Better than England's.
Honestly, and I think Finn was saying this stuff in our group chat, Andrew, that he was like, dare I say it? And I'm going, no, absolutely. That's a very strong midfield. And that is, other teams should be looking at and being quite scared, because we're very strong there. If they stay fit, then that's, other teams would be jealous.
Will it happen here for Scotland? It's John McGinn to float it in! Yes! It's in! By Scott McTominay! This is big! This is huge! This is Scotland 3, Israel 2, and this is the Scotland way! You just have to go with it!
Oh, come on, listen to this, please! Absolutely brilliant, Ian!
Before we finish off the podcast, we need to finish off with our final opponents, which is Hungary. And Laura, in your little Euro tour so far in this show, you've been catching up with all the experts, and you caught up with a Hungarian analyst and journalist, Abel Meszaros, of course. So yeah, I wonder how that went, Laura.
Abel, thank you so much for joining us. We're turning our attentions to Hungary now. It must be an exciting time, because kind of similar to Scotland in a way, hadn't qualified for so many years. It was like 30 years or something, and then this is now their third tournament in a row. What's the mood like going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of historical connections to Scotland from, all the way from Jimmy Hogan, and then there's a huge, but I don't want to do that nostalgia route. But to be fair, the trajectory of this is more from 2016 or so, and the current era of Marco Rossi. I guess usually it's easy to kind of delineate with the head coach. Is very much, I would say, like upward for the most part, with a couple of bumps and just in some ways like trying to deal with the reality of being, I mean, just even qualifying for these tournaments, which I think Scotland had and the limitations that you have of a smaller country where like they've had to naturalize 4 or 5 players, like a Callum Stowles from Sunderland, or Willi Orban or Leuknagel. So from and not just sort of diaspora, but people who you didn't even really know before, and so the league itself, although there's been a lot of money and politically it's been very well funded, and I don't want to really get into that, but everything has been made, like just great effort into like top facilities, academies, and all of these things at massive cost to everyone. But yeah, like you saw the result in 2016, where it was more of a kind of happy to be there, but since then I think last Euros was a big turning point in terms of it had reached sort of a limit of and Rossi and the staff have talked about this, how they've reached the limit of the playing style of defending deep and playing in the counterattack, and I mean there was 3 games against France, Portugal and Germany where after like I think in the 80th minute they were all tied, or Hungary was even ahead, I think. So so you could have actually conceivably continued with that, but they've made a very conscious effort to kind of go away from that.
I remember talking about Hungary in 2016 and actually comparing it to Scotland in a way that they didn't have a standout star, but they were very much almost like a club, like a unit. And it's kind of how Scotland have went as well. So there definitely is parallels there. Who should we be watching out for?
20 year, so the Euros, which was in 2021 eventually, that was a turning point because we didn't have Dominic Szoboszlai from Liverpool, which I think, it's kind of he's kind of a household name now, certainly this season. And despite being 24 or 23, so like it's still so it's a lot of it. The stylistic change has been how to better utilize him, and they've the coaching staff has made a very conscious effort to go from that style, because one of the things in qualifying is it's really difficult to qualify against say like a Montenegro or even, there's a lot of these sort of similar teams, and you do have to dominate some of those games because most of the times you'll get like one really tough opponent, like an England or and then okay, but you do have to show something else. So they've developed and they've used like a lot of blueprints from like Inter. So Antonio Conte was one reference, Simone Inzaghi. And lately, it's been like the biggest development for 2023 is playing more of a proximity play where the ball is actually the reference point. So there's a lot of kind of nice historical parallels, and it's all centered around Szoboszlai, who is kind of the planet that they orbit around. And they're still keeping in mind there's still a lot of positional play framework. There's still a lot of defending forward. There's still more high pressing because they want to defend further from their boxes. It's not something you want to be aggressive that way. So it's a much more complete team in that sense, and I think in some ways also it's much more suited to the style, because most of the talent is, I would say, like sort of midfield or attacking area. So, and that's where we have like Roland Chalet, who's at Freiburg now, but he's been kind of linked with a move to England. We have Milos Kerkez, who's at Bournemouth, who's a 20-year-old. So I mean, they're the sort of established talent or young talent, which like obviously wasn't there, say like 3, 4, 5 years ago, is now disqualification. And that's the thing, is this qualification was special in the sense of having that unbeaten streak and qualifying ahead of Serbia, which was a huge accomplishment, and being able to like outplay these teams, which previously even really wasn't the case. So but yeah, it's Szoboszlai who's kind of the alpha and omega of this team.
And Marshall has saved! Yes! One big yes!
Abel Meszaros there, Laura, pitchside reporter in the Bundesliga and good friend of Archie Rhind-Tutt actually as well, who put us in touch with him. So that was really, really good of Archie. So this is it. The clock is ticking. Friday is just round the corner, and I am sweating everywhere. Oh, Laura, can I just give you the floor to just sum this up as someone who's been there every step of the way, literally? I know you've been there too, John. But Laura's one of our own.
No, fair enough. Laura's travelled more than me, to be fair.
Someone who's not dropping other podcast names all the time. But Laura, honestly, like, how sum up this tournament? Steve Clarke, the job he's done, the players, the work that they've done, and the fans, they've done wonders as well.
Yeah, it's finally here. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people around our age that's in a similar position. John, I think we first met at our away game about 15 years ago now or something.
Netherlands, Scotland, aye.
Yeah. It's been a long, long journey of torture, pain. 7 away trips before I saw a goal scored. Well, I'll go for Scotland. I saw many, many opposition goals. There's been a lot of money spent, a lot of sad walks away from Hampden as well, depressing times. And this squad has absolutely changed that. The group of players we've got, the manager we've got, the whole atmosphere around the country, it's brought everyone together. You've got a whole new generation of Scotland fans coming through now as well. And it's just so exciting to finally have a proper tournament as well. But it's not spread across 5-10 different countries. It's not hampered by COVID restrictions and ticket restrictions. And it's not in some stupid place like Qatar or far-off continent with crazy rules. It's in a proper footballing country. It's easy to get to, and that's why we're going to have a complete invasion this week. Bring it on. I cannot wait for the party.
Yeah, it's going to be something special. John, I suppose you kind of echo what Laura's saying.
Yeah, pretty much. If there's one thing I regretted in my younger days, certainly my single days, was not taking in enough away experiences with the Tartan Army. I've only been properly abroad once. I've been to obviously Wembley and Dublin, but it's not the same as going abroad. The experiences Laura's had, for example, and when I hear some of Laura's stories, and when I've spoken to the fans I have for the book, and I hear what both books actually, and I hear their tales of going to Russia, going to Sweden, going to Finland, etc. This is my time. So, I'm looking forward to creating my own memories of this, and I'm just going to really enjoy it. There's a lot of Debbie Downers out there that are saying, but Scotland's going to get beat all the time. Chase yourself. It's about the it's about the experience. And do you know something? We've got a team. I know we've had injury problems, but we have a decent first 11 out there, and if they're all on the park, we have a chance. So yeah, I'm just going to go out there and really enjoy it, because this could be a once in a lifetime thing, and I've been waiting my whole life for this, and as Laura has too, for a proper away tournament in a proper country as well. So yeah, real looking forward to down in a couple of courses and whatever else out in Germany.
Love it, guys. I'm looking forward to every single bit of it. The best thing is all the games are evening kickoffs, so when I'm over in the States, I should be able to watch every single game, which will be a good laugh. And I'm with a Scottish crowd as well. So it's going to be some experience for all of us. Anyone who's out there listening, stay positive. That's the whole message of this podcast, is staying positive. And do you know what? If we go out in the groups, we got there in the first place and we've enjoyed every damn second of it. We've scored some great goals. We've witnessed some great moments that will live long in the memory, and this is just another one of these tournaments where Scotland are going to make their mark. No matter win, lose or draw, we will make our mark, and people will remember us and want us back for more. So yes, bring on the World Cup next. That's what I want. Oh my God, that would be so good. Right. Thanks so much for listening. Go enjoy Germany. No tears, Laura. No tears.
What's your score predictions? Come on. What's going to happen against Germany?
Oh, score predictions. Germany will lose 2-1. Switzerland will draw 1-1. Hungary will win 3-0.
Oof.
And we'll go through second.
That's
4 points.
That is some prediction. I also have 4 points, but I have them coming in different games. I think we'll lose 2-1 to Germany. I think we'll beat Switzerland 2-1. That's the game that I think is the key game in the whole thing. And I think we'll draw with Hungary, and we'll go through either as one of the best third place or second.
I'm going to go 1 each with Germany, 2-0 win over Switzerland, and a 3-0 defeat to Hungary.
For God's sake.
I thought you were going to go for a full.
No. By the point we crash and burn, I'm hoping we'll already be through.
Right. It's that time again. If you're still listening to the podcast, why aren't you sinking a cold one in Germany or enjoying some currywurst somewhere? That's what you should certainly be doing. So yeah, go and listen to something else now, guys. Auf Wiedersehen.